How's it going, Football Daily family, and welcome to Transfer Preview, where me and Patrick Van Straten run down 3 of the biggest moves that could happen this January. The first of which is Antoine Griezmann to Barcelona, Pato.
Yeah, of course we had to start with this move, and it's all kicked off this week. Atleti have reported Barcelona to FIFA, citing an illegal approach for Antoine Griezmann. Now, apparently the Catalonians have been discussing a possible move with members of Griezmann's family, and we can see why. Though he's just signed a new deal, which runs until 2022, he has a buyout clause of £88 million.
So cheap.
I'm sure, yeah, exactly. I'm sure you'd all agree that that is a real bargain. And with Man United almost certainly wanting to come in for him in the summer, and who knows, maybe a Bayern Munich or a wild card like that as well, Barcelona might think, let's get him in January, head off competition from the other super clubs who could probably pay bigger wages than we can. Of course, as well, Atleti, the only side in La Liga other than Barca to be unbeaten so far. They're just 6 points behind the Blaugrana, and this would serve kind of a double purpose. It would beef up Barcelona's squad while depleting Atletico Madrid's. Now, the interesting question is where he'd fit in tactically. Ernesto Valverde has kind of gone for a 4-4-2 this season. Would we see Griezmann in one of those two spots up front?
Or Messi.
Well, I kind of think that the sensible thing would be to go to 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, and that gives you a way to get in your 4 attackers. If Messi goes into the most advanced midfield role, the Iniesta role, then you can actually have Griezmann, Dembele, Suarez as your forward line. And of course, lest we forget, Suarez is not young. I believe he's 32 now, maybe 31. So perhaps this is just good planning for the future, because Griezmann, 26 years old. He's been used as a traditional centre forward. He can play out wide, he can play in the 10 role. So it would also help them if Messi were to get injured or slow down a bit as he gets older. I don't know. I mean, I think Barcelona do need him. I think Barcelona.
But do they need him more than Coutinho?
Yes, I would go for Griezmann over him, because I think that gives you the option of putting Messi into the midfield. I also think, though, if I were Barcelona, what I'd really be trying to do is beef up my midfield. I feel like the attacking options are pretty good, but I kind of look at their midfield and you see like Rakitic, Busquets, Iniesta, very old now, you know, Paulinho, perhaps not great. They're all aging. If I were them, I'd spend some money then. But for 88 million quid, you know what? Maybe you just find that money.
Yeah, I mean, Griezmann had a slow start to the season, didn't he? I think he's now up to 5 goals, 3 assists in 13 appearances in La Liga. So he's starting to refine some form, and it's kind of coincided with the club's surge up to second place that you were talking about. 5 wins in their last 6 games.
Wow.
They are catching Barcelona up, and they are doing it with Griezmann in the front line. Could Atletico Madrid, though, cope without him? I personally don't think they could. They've only scored 5 goals in their last 4 games. In fact, this season, Griezmann has contributed to 33% of their goals. If you took that 33% out, does Diego Costa fill that void? It's big pressure. They're 2 completely different players. Costa, I think a lot more of his shots come from inside the box, 2.4 in fact. That's twice as many as Antoine Griezmann. So they're 2 very different players, and I wonder whether Costa and Gameiro work in the same way that Griezmann and Gameiro do.
Sure.
Because Griezmann likes to drop deep, he likes to pick the ball up, doesn't he? He's often a link man. Costa is not. He's a target man. He'll run in behind. So they're 2 very different players, and I don't think Atleti can afford to lose Griezmann. I know he's got an £88 million buyout clause, but I would do absolutely everything in the book to keep him.
Do you think, though, that they could rely on Correa and particularly Yannick Ferreira Carrasco to come through? Because Carrasco, I think, has got 3 goals, 3 assists in like 600 minutes this season. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Correa's got 4 and assisted 1, and I think he's played just about 900 minutes. So
it's not bad for a very young player.
Pretty good as well. But I personally think Carrasco is going to leave eventually. He's a very peripheral figure now, and he'll probably go in the summer. My big concern for Simeone is that he doesn't have a choice about losing Griezmann.
Yes.
With that £88 million buyout clause, he has to go. Although, just thinking about it now, does the £88 million buyout clause not only apply to clubs outside of Spain? I believe that the buyout clause system in Spain is such that it only applies to other European sides. Don't quote me on it.
Ooh.
But do you know more about the Spanish buyout clause system? Because we're not too sure. But either way, Barcelona are definitely after Griezmann.
Now, another star who might be on his way to a Spanish giant this January is David Luiz. He's been linked with moves to Real Madrid, to Barcelona, and even to Arsenal. But we're going to focus on a possible switch to the Spanish league, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Barcelona and Madrid, like you said, heavily interested. That's being reported by the Telegraph and Marca over in Madrid. Luis very publicly has fallen out of favour with Conte. Apparently they had a bit of a bust-up after the Champions League loss to Roma, had a bit of a dressing room spat there. And then since, he's of course damaged those knee ligaments, so he's got a fairly long-term injury. I think he's going to be back around January. So hopefully for Chelsea fans, he'll come back fit and firing. But he might not be a starter. Conte's now talked about Christensen as the long-term centre-back at the club. In fact, he came out publicly in the press and said Andreas Christensen is the present and the future of the club. Of course, still just 21 years old, has really found some form. Fantastic distributor from the back in a similar ilk to David Luiz. And apparently, according to the Telegraph, Chelsea only want around £23 million for the 30-year-old. He's getting on a little bit now, and I think their main hope is if they can get him out of England and not to a club like Arsenal, then they'll be absolutely delighted. Barcelona and Real Madrid as well, very tempting prospects if you are a Brazilian David Luiz at this age. 30 years old, probably in with a shout of starting at one of those two clubs. Maybe not Madrid, where Varane and Ramos is such a strong partnership, but certainly at Barcelona with the injury to Umtiti and Mascherano leaving, Pato.
Yeah, I think Barcelona are the more likely destination for him here. Of course, we know that he's, a kind of silky ball-playing centre-back, but he's no slacker in the defensive actions as well. So I've got some comparisons here between him and Samuel Umtiti. Luiz completes 48 passes a game. Umtiti's up at 80, but I think that's probably a stylistic thing a little bit, the way Barcelona play versus the way Chelsea play. Umtiti 3.3 tackles and interceptions. David Luiz 4.1.
Incredible
numbers. And that's despite playing in the middle of a back three, where often you don't see an awful lot of tackles and interceptions. Now Umtiti is much better in the duels, 72% success to Luiz's 50%. And that's actually one of the things that's really impressed me about Umtiti. When he gets one-on-one with a guy, he's so good at just showing him one direction and then nicking the ball off his feet. Like you say, Real Madrid, a little bit tougher to see a path to the first team. Ramos and Varane, very, very good. Nacho actually has been pretty good when he's deputised. And of course, they've got Jesus Vallejo, the young centre-back, who also looked extremely promising. But none of those guys really accomplished in a back three. None of them have really played in that. And of course, Real Madrid, the results have not really been up to Real Madrid's standards so far this season. And it's possible that Zidane would want to switch to a back three, in which case David Luiz brings ready-made expertise. When you compare him to Sergio Ramos, you get a pretty favourable comparison, actually. Like I said, 48 successful passes. Ramos is on 44, 4.1 tackles and interceptions. Ramos is on 2.6. And actually, David Luiz has a higher dual success, 50%, than Ramos, who's on 45%.
Not bad.
Despite the fact that I always see Ramos as particularly strong in that regard.
Tackler,
Yeah, so I don't know. I think David Luiz would be an excellent backup for Real Madrid. I think he'd probably be a pretty good starter for Barcelona.
So
but what do you guys think? Where is he going to go? How much is he going to cost? Let us know in the comments below.
Our final rumour of the day is Alexandro to Manchester United. Now, this one has been making headlines in Italy, Pato.
Yeah, Corriere dello Sport say that he will be sold by Juventus this January. And apparently Chelsea are wanting to rival Man United for his signature as well. Well, we heard about interest from them in the Brazilian in the summer. Now, he's valued at about £65 million by the old lady, but apparently, because they want to get him off the books, you might be able to get him for as little as 50. And apparently as well, Juventus want Matteo Darmian. So this all looks like it's aligning very, very nicely for Man United to bring in one of the world's best left backs. He is absolutely outstanding. Now, he's under contract until 2020. He signed a new deal in 2015, but he's on just €55,000 a week.
Unbelievably cheap, isn't it?
United can triple that easily, no trouble at all. They couldn't agree a deal in the summer, Chelsea and Juventus, because apparently Juve were wanting to gouge just a little bit too much out of it.
70-odd million, I think, in the summer they wanted.
And Conte just said no thank you. But United, they need a left back. They're obviously unhappy with the options they have. This is a 26-year-old who seems to have everything you could want.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously well documented that Luke Shaw isn't in Jose Mourinho's plans at the moment anyway. Still only 22, so that might happen in the future. And that Ashley Young has really been our mainstay at left back, and he's actually been quite a good performer there too.
He has been good.
But he's 32 years of age, not getting any younger, as is Matteo Darmian. Matteo Darmian 28 now. Maybe if we are going to move him on, now is the time with Juventus wanting him as part of a deal, because basically he's pretty bloody average. At Chelsea, he could maybe be a left wing back upgrade. Marcos Alonso could move into his centre back role, and that would probably be a good deal for them. But with the option of Darmian going the other way, I think Man United is possibly a more likely option. Obviously, Sandro can play in both roles. He's played in a 3 at the back as a left wing back for Juventus. He's also played in a 4 as well there. In 16-17, he was one of Juventus' key men. He was starting nearly every game, 2,300 minutes. He was making 2 chances a game. He was doing 5 tackles and interceptions. Huge numbers. Quite frankly, he was a beast. He was one of the best left backs in the world. 17-18, after the summer, after the rumours of the transfer to Chelsea, it's all gone a little bit awry behind the scenes, and he's now played just 400 minutes. He's actually struggling for game time. He's coming off the bench a lot. He's only creating 1.2 chances per 90, 3 tackles and interceptions per game, so his numbers have nearly halved in this new season, basically because he's out of favour. He's not getting the game time, he's not getting enough starts, so maybe he will move. And if he does move in January, whoever gets him, be it Man United, be it Chelsea, are going to get an absolute well-beater of a left-back. Probably top 5 left-backs in the world, Alexandro. And to get him for £50 million, I personally think is a bargain. But what do you guys think? Is it a good deal for Manchester United? Vote in the poll up there. That's the end of this show, but don't go anywhere else just yet, cause 90+1 have got...
We've got Eden Hazard, 90+1 facts about him. And of course, if you're still interested, check out 90+1 facts about El Clasico. That game hasn't been played yet. We don't know what the result is, but some amazing facts in there, courtesy of Kieran.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great Christmas, and we'll catch you in the new year. Bye.